When the Outrigger Canoe Club was established on the beach at Waikiki between two popular hotels that had started to be a kind of a central area for the tourist trade. And the club claimed that it was about preserving surfing and canoeing culture, but it was actually founded by a white man, Alexander Hume Ford, who had recently moved to Hawaii, and it limited its membership to whites only, excluding the native Hawaiians who had developed surfing and all of that water sport culture in the first place. So as if that were not enough, there's a whole added layer of travesty here. To some degree, as white business interests started claiming Hawaii's land, much of which had really not been owned in the sense that we were talking about owning property today, the ocean was a respite from all of that for the locals because no one owned the water. So swimming and surfing had remained to at least some degree outside of that whole conflict until it was also appropriated. Additionally, and to add another horrifying aspect, Ford, in promoting surfing in various publications, even used photos of Duke and wrote as though he were Duke. He used the name Duke Paua and wrote about surfing from the quote native perspective, which he was not. Yeah, that has caused some confusion over the years where people are like, no, I think Duke wrote those articles. And people are like, if you read this sentence structure, this is not how that man spoke. It is super stilted and weird. It is clearly someone trying to sound like a native Hawaiian or what they perceive a native Hawaiian would write like. It's pretty gross. In response to being excluded from Ford's club, though, Duke and two of his friends, William Cottrell, who went by Newt, and Kenneth Winter, started their own club. So there was not a clubhouse here. The Moana Hotel let them have a little space in their locker room for changing, but really they just tended to meet under a tree on the beach. The dues were $1 a year, and the club met just about every day. It was named Hui Nalu. Hui means to get together, and Nalu means surf. Hui Nalu excluded no one, and as a consequence, even though it was started as what Duke and his friends called a poor man's club, it actually had a really wide-ranging mix of members. So men and women, wealthy people, poor people, Hawaiian people, white people, people from all walks of life joined and swam and surfed together, and they had parties on the beach at night, and they also, it was kind of part of their club's mandate to rescue swimmers when they needed help. Duke also set up rules of surf etiquette that were all intended to keep everyone safe, many of which still exist today. And he and the other adult members kind of looked out for the younger members and just taught them how to handle waves. It was really kind of this nice community. Swimming was where Duke really gained attention on a wider stage. Although if you asked him, what he really wanted to compete in was rowing and sculling specifically. But the barrier to entry there had really been money. He couldn't afford a scull of his own. He had always, effortlessly, been a really strong swimmer. And at the age of 21, he decided to enter a swimming contest that was being held in Honolulu Harbor. This was actually at the urging of Hawaii's Assistant District Attorney, William Rawlins, who was helping to establish Hawaii's amateur athletic union. He had timed Duke Kahanamoku swimming, and he thought he should start competing. And so he also helped get Hui Nalu registered with the AAU so that its members could enter official competition. And so Hui Nalu members signed up for the AAU-sponsored contest. Duke competed in the 220-yard race. That opened up the competition, and he won that race. His six-man 300-yard relay team also won. But most famously, Duke competed in the 100-yard freestyle race, and he won. Pretty easily. Duke would always say throughout his life, and other people would say of him, that he didn't swim as hard as